Toxic positivity. What is it and how do we combat it? For most of us, we have an inner critic. In fact, I'll probably say that's all of us. And a lot of times this can lead to toxic negativity. We're hypercritical of ourselves, beat ourselves up. But the opposite can also be true, and that's toxic positivity. With toxic positivity, this usually stems from our childhood, how we were raised, and also from cultural messages, things that we hear from our school, from friends, or our churches, where essentially there's this comparison between good feelings and bad feelings. And what's wrong with that is that it creates a culture of shame towards our challenging emotions. And it says, you can't feel that, that's a negative feeling. And we grow up stuffing away and masking our negative feelings with positive feelings, just trying to put on a happy face because that's what's acceptable. People won't love me or accept me if I have negative feelings or I show that. And that's toxic positivity. And often these are messages that we reinforce within ourselves, that we can't accept our challenging feelings because they're perceived as negative. And so probably what you've heard someone say to you at some point is just be positive, or you'll get over this, think happy thoughts. And this again stems from these messages that you receive. An example of one is, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And that puts us in the box to only be able to say and feel positive feelings as acceptable. And so the way to combat it is through healthy validation and giving ourselves permission to feel our challenging emotions. I'm being careful here to try to reframe it as challenging emotions versus negative emotions, because that has a connotation that negative feelings are negative and bad. And so these statements of toxic positivity can either be coming internally from ourselves, from our inner critic, or it can be coming from other people. And so if you yourself or someone else is using this language of toxic positivity, then that's where you would want to advocate for yourself, for you to try to do more healthy validation for yourself, or ask or request that from others. And so some examples of healthy validation would be allowing yourself to feel your challenging emotions and just sitting with that before going immediately to being positive. So an example could be, it's okay if you're struggling. We are all different and deal with problems in our own way. I know this is hard. I'm here with you. So these are good examples because it focuses on accepting a challenging feeling and then trying to have some sense of hope of getting through it. So toxic positivity is not to be confused with authentic, genuine optimism. There are people out there who are very positive, and that's just their personality. Maybe they're very gregarious, very sociable people, or they just have a lot of hope. And that's great for them, but for a lot of us, that's very challenging. And I would even challenge people who are very hopeful and very optimistic to make sure that they are validating and giving themselves permission to feel their challenging emotions. And if there's any takeaway maybe I would share with you today is to give yourself permission to feel your challenging emotions. Next time you tell yourself, it's not okay for me to unravel right now, what would it look like to instead say, I give myself permission to unravel and feel my challenging emotions? And I wonder what would happen if you did that first before stuffing away your negative feelings and going straight to being positive. Well, I hope this video was helpful and you learned a little bit more about toxic positivity. There's plenty of resources on the internet, so you're welcome to Google it. But for now, see if that helps, and thank you for listening.